Hey, this is Ben. This is the 38th stanza of The Art of Peace. So begin by noticing that bird, those birds, flying over. Different layers of their song. In my right eye is light. The sun is directly shining on me, and in my right eye, it's an overwhelming lightness. It's not uncomfortable, but it requires effort to maintain. The left eye is more shadowed, but feels the strain, the effort being brought to bear by the right eye. So you can feel that sensation, the experience. The heat generated on the right side of my body is significant compared to what's going on at the left side. There's a clear difference. As I settle into the heat, there's so much of a difference that I can recognize my skin starting to perk up. It's almost like my body is preparing to start managing the consequences of this heat. Immediately interacting with it. I'm going to my ground, noticing my ankles, the outside edges of my feet, the familiar kind of that my feet kind of generate, and then there's some sensation on the left side of the center of my spine in my lower back, and it's more like that's what it's doing. It's going. Now I can influence both those sensations by moving or shifting. So in my mind, the image flashed of kind of putting my hands down on the ground, pushing up a little bit, leaning forward, and seeing if I can find a more comfortable alignment. The second I did that, I feel pulling in the backs of both legs. It's like a it feels kind of pulling. Now when I sit back up, the pulling goes more to a lower back sensation is still there, and now it's got some kind of like arms out of the top, so it's like there's like this now when I go to the front of my core, there's nothing going on there. In the front of my core, there's totally calm. Front of my core is totally calm. And resting in the awareness at the front of my core is it's pleasant. It feels none of the heat that the right side feels. When I'm out of awareness of my eyes, when I'm in the awareness of my my core, the heat from the sun doesn't feel as pressing. Now the sensation in my lower back just sprung up. It's now kind of into the middle of my spine, so if I look at it, there's some sensation down by the left buttock. It's not much. It's more of a. It's almost. You're almost unaware of it. It's like. And then, but building up into the lower back, it starts becoming more. the constantness. And it's also now present on the right side of my spine. There's this, I can hold it. It's not debilitating, but it's there, it's present. And just then my awareness flashed out to the at my ankles, the outside edges of my ankles, that pressure there. There's the sun on the right side. The intensity of the sun just became more present for me. Heat in my forearm, skin responding with sweat. There's a kind of a pressured element at the moment. The number of things that are putting pressure on me is very noticeable. It's becoming uncomfortable. Now, the thoughts I can put at each of these spaces can either contribute to or lessen what's going on in the experience, or I should say the suffering of the experience. So check this out. I'll go into my ankles. Thought experience. Yep. That's that left ankle right there. Twisted that thing 1,000 times. Oh, I think back to the trauma of the initial experience where I twisted it. I was on a climbing wall at the International School of Brussels, Belgium, and I jumped off, and I wasn't paying attention. My body just cringed. Everything just tensed at the memory. When I dropped down, my foot fell right through the crack in these big, 12-inch cushions, and it just went. Oh, just the feeling of it in my body right there, just everywhere, just like all my guts and my throat, just awful feeling. It was just this powerful surge of like, I remember the pop, and then I remember sitting down, and I remember watching it change, turning purple and swelling, and then just the pain of it. I remember being stoic. I remember being tough. I feel the sadness in my throat, my chest, like this big bulge of red, purple, and pink, and there's a sweet color to it, but it's just, it's right in the center of my chest, more to the right, into my right arm. It's just such a staring at my foot and remembering my face is all squunched up. It's just so, my breath is very short right now. Everything feels just like, fuck. Remember that? Like, have you ever had a feeling like that where you're just like, fuck. Alright, so now my alignment, right? Now my alignment is totally collapsed. Can you hear my voice has changed? So I can actually tell at my feet, I still have that sensation in the ankles. Now the outside edges of my left leg are starting to feel achy. That sensation in my lower back is still there, but it's not as big as the sensation in my heart and in my shoulders and in my chin and in my neck. The fullness of my being has been rocked by the re-experiencing of the trauma of the twisting of the ankle. And just the pop that my ankle made, the sound of it when I hit, and each time I go relive that memory, it's just this sense of I feel like I want to vomit. It's all inside my throat and my stomach and my chest, and it's just sad, it's gross, it's just such a devastating memory. It's just like man. Ugh. So now my chest is all grounded forward, so I'm going to go through my points. Feet, pelvis, core, heart, throat, top of the head, full breath in. So remember, my original intention was to add thoughts to the experience of sensation. And so in the process of adding thoughts to the experience of sensation, my thoughts immediately took me to the memory of what originally started the problem at my ankle. And what originally started the problem at that ankle was this massive trauma in high school. And then the experience of that was just devastating. So my awareness took me all the way to the reliving of the experience. The experience in my brain as circuitry, the experience in my mind that is connective circuitry memories, the experience through my whole body, which is the memory, doesn't die, and when you relive it, it fires just the same way it fired when it was created. So it's going back through that, addressing that, going into that, being able to handle it without becoming that. The devastating nature of the original trauma to my left ankle, the persistent feeling of weakness at my left ankle, the constant return to the problems of the left ankle whenever something new trips it up and I twist it for the 100th time. The same story, the same original trauma over and over and over again. So that's thought experience. Now the sensation experience, the sensation experience associated with all that is to not give the experience future or past, but simply to acknowledge the experience as it is, as it was, but as it is. That was then, this is now. Now, acknowledging what it is includes acknowledging the fact that the memories don't know time. The experience in your mind as circuitry doesn't know time. So when you go back to that trauma in any way, shape, or form, the fullness of the experience has the potential to be present for you. By looking at that fullness and seeing the way the body sinks and the shoulders hunch and the feelings surge and the sensations overwhelm and the happens and the fuck happens and the happens and the despair happens and the fight happens and the rage happens and the viciousness happens, evil. And instead of getting consumed by it, dominated by it, owned by it, becoming it over and over and over again, you're the experience. Oh, there's rage. Ugh, I feel how terrible that is. Good Lord. Up, there's viciousness. Okay. There's sadness. There's joy. There's relief, there's shame, there's guilt, there's grief, there's panic, there's overwhelmed, there's underwhelmed, there's speed, there's slow. That's your choice. If you can choose, to realize, to practice the discipline of being awareness, the discipline of being awareness, the discipline of being awareness is choosing over and 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 over again, to recognize that you are not the experience, you are not the thought, you are the awareness of the experience and the awareness of the thought. And from that moment, you are your most authentic and effective self. Your most authentic and effective self. As your most authentic and effective self, you have the greatest potential to harmonize with any moment and find the smooth path forward. Harmonize at any moment and find the smooth path forward. The 38th stanza in the Art of Peace. Daily training in the art of peace allows your inner divinity to shine brighter and brighter. Do not concern yourself with the right and wrong of others. Do not be calculating or act unnaturally. Keep your mind set on the art of peace, and do not criticize other teachers or traditions. The art of peace never restrains, restricts, or shackles anything. It embraces and purifies everything. King, out.